In this video, I'll be going over how to start up the Spitfire LF Mark IX. The first thing to do is turn the gas on. If you come down here and move your stick out of the way, you can see this gray lever. You click it to flip it up, and that turns on the gas. The next thing to do is move the propeller RPM lever all the way forward, which is this small black one right here. You just push it all the way forward like that. Then you take the throttle and move it about an inch forward. That's just to open it up a little bit so some fuel can go through. Next thing to do is in front of the throttle, there is a little switch right here, and you need to click this switch to turn it on. Now, since that switch is kind of hard to reach, another way you can turn it on is just by pushing the throttle forward. You can see when I pushed it forward, it automatically turned on. And then, of course, you have to bring the throttle all the way back and then move it an inch forward again. What that switch does is turns on this light here, which means that there's low fuel pressure, and you'll see why we need this light in a second. Next, we turn on the magnetos. There's two of them, and you just turn on these switches here. The magnetos are kind of like the spark plugs of the engine. Next thing you need to do is pump some fuel into the engine to get it ready for startup. You just come here to this lever, and you unscrew it to the left with your scroll wheel to open it up. Then you pump it about 3 or 4 times. If it's cold outside, you might have to pump it more times. Now, the manual says that you should start the engine first and then close this valve. But in DCS, I don't think it matters because I always just go ahead and close it, and I've never had any problems. So after you're done pumping, you can close it if you want, or you can start the engine and then close it. Now what we need to do is put some pressure in the fuel line. The way that you do that is you use this big ball pump right here. You just click it and let go, and that pumps it up. And you want to keep doing that until this light goes out. And that's why we turned on that switch earlier, so we can have this light working. So you should need to pump this handle about 10 times. And you can see the light went out, so we're good. Next, you needed to open these two covers right here. Okay, now for engine start, we want to put the brake on. There's no parking brake, but what you can do is use your scroll wheel on the brake lever here to basically act as a parking brake. So first, I'm going to really quickly explain how we're going to start it, and then we're going to actually start it. So what we're going to do to start this is we're going to click these two buttons at the same time and hold them down. And the propeller will spin, and you'll notice that it will eventually catch. And you'll be able to just kind of see how it looks when it happens. And when the propeller catches, you're going to take this big red lever and move it forward, and that will open the fuel into the engine. Once you do that, you can let go of these two buttons, and then the engine will be started. Now, you might be thinking what I'm thinking. Starting the engine in this plane requires you to click 3 buttons at the same time. These 2 black buttons and this red lever here. So I would recommend binding them to something on your keyboard or your stick, so it's easier. One of the black buttons is this one here, booster coil button press. The other black button is this one here, starter button press. And the red lever is this here, mixture control run for forward and mixture control idle for backwards. All right, so let's do it. So I'm going to click the 2 black buttons. It caught. I'm going to push the lever forward, let go of the buttons, and you can see the engine is started up. Once the engine is started, you can go ahead and right scroll wheel on this pump to close it if you didn't do that already. And then you can turn on the fuel pump, which you come down here and there'll be this first red switch, and you click it to push it down, which turns it on. The last thing to do is warm up the engine. In order to warm up the engine, you just adjust your throttle so the RPM is around 1200, 1300, and you keep it like that, and you wait for this radiator temperature gauge to get to 60 degrees. Now in DCS, I don't know if you actually have to warm up the engine, because I've taken off lots of times without warming it up, and there's never been any problems. But if you want to warm it up, it takes around 3 minutes. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you later.